Greetings and salutations. So today, I wanted to basically continue my gym etiquette series. Again, it's a series that I shouldn't have to do, but I've had enough experiences that, we need to step our game up in terms of etiquette, in terms of gentlemanly behavior in the gym. And this is an experience that needs to be said now. This is actually an experience that I had a couple months ago, but it's a very common experience. And what I'm going to talk about today is the form police. Yeah, that's right. You see them in the comments. You see them in the gym. They'll come up and talk to you. People you have no idea who they are, no idea what kind of skills they have, what kind of research they do, but they feel as though they need to educate you on what kind of lifts you should be doing, what kind of style of a squat, what kind of style of a deadlift or a overhead press you should do. I'm petting the dog here. Hello. The direwolf companion of the Squat King. So before I dive into this, guys, you watched the last video and you're here again, subscribe to the channel. Okay, I'll wait. Just go down, click the button. There you go. There you go. So, basically, all right, calm down, Hopper. Okay. So, guys, basically, this experience that I had, the last one was at a gym that I had never been to before. This one was at the gym that I go to the most often, the one that I have always gone to. It was in my home gym, and I'm back home for a second here, take care of some stuff, still getting settled in the new place. But basically, in this gym, I went to do some squats, and there was an unloaded bar there, and just empty squat rack. So there I am, squatting away. My buddy was there, who is probably watching this video, by the way. And this is not about you, okay? Because we did have a conversation where he was like, "Oh, you squat a little differently from the way I do." And I kind of was like, "Oh, okay, what's going on here?" So he was like, "Oh, why do you look at the ground when you do that?" Well, I look not down at the ground, but I have a forward lean. Like, here's my back, and I'm looking straight. I'm not going to extend my cervical spine to look up, right? I don't want to bunch up all the muscles in the back of my head there. I'm just going to keep my chin tucked, keep my spine straight, and it just so happens that if my back is pointed this way, I'm going to be looking at the floor when I go up and down. And he was fine with that. This is my buddy here who... and he definitely knows what he's doing, and that's why we had that conversation, because I was like, whoa, hold on a second here, am I fucking up? Because I was actually concerned, because I know this character does his research. I know that he knows what he's doing, not because he's older than me, not because he's been doing it longer than me, but because I know that he does research on this subject. And I respect that. I respect research. But like I said, I don't respect experience that has no research behind it. Just because you've been in the gym for 20 years of your life doesn't necessarily mean that you know what the hell you're talking about. And that's the big problem. A lot of these form police guys in the gyms, they're old dudes who just so happen to do this stuff all their life. Now, again, with the way that I squat, I've never been injured doing what I do. And furthermore, I find that with the way that I squat, I get a better leverage because of the stretch reflex in the hamstring at the bottom of the lift. That's why I do a Ripito style barbell back squat. And, I put 135 on the bar. And while we were having this conversation, another person came into the fold. And he's not a bad powerlifter. In fact, he's pretty good for his age. I think he's like 70, 71, something like that. And there are a lot of guys like that in the gym. And Okay, the dog's kind of annoying me again, so bear with me. So there are a lot of guys in the gym like that, but this guy started going on like, oh, well, why do you do that? You got to look up when you squat. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to look up like this, hyperextend all of them, like hyperextend my cervical spine here, um, contract a bunch of muscles that don't actually need to be contracted. In fact, you should have your chin tucked when you squat, no matter what. That's standard, okay? No matter where you want to look, whether you're looking down, which again you shouldn't be doing, shouldn't be looking up either. Have your your chin tucked. So whether you're doing like a high bar or a low bar, doesn't matter. Tuck your chin. And but God, man, this guy was like, "Oh, well, where'd you learn to do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a pretty standard lift that you learn in starting strength." And then he was like, "Oh, well, what's that?" So first of all, if you don't know what starting strength is, that tells me that you have never gone online to do research. It's probably the most popular 5x5 program aside from Mad Cows, which are both, I believe, novice programs. So, I mean, if you don't know two basic strength novice programs, that goes to show that, you don't actually do experience. And it was like, oh, well, this guy started talking about, oh, well, you should look up when you squat. And I mean, you shouldn't listen to people who are coaches because they get paid to do what they do and they're all about the money. And it's like, do you really think, like, let's think about that statement for 1 second. Okay. So you're telling me that I should listen to people who don't get paid instead because the people who don't get paid. So let's talk about that. What recourse is there for people who don't get paid to do what they do? Right? So if you're getting paid to be a coach, you better be a damn good coach, because if you're not, you're going to get found out pretty quickly. If you're giving bullshit advice to people that doesn't work, that's unsafe, and someone does get hurt, when that does happen, it's not an if, it's a when. That does happen. There is a major financial backlash to that. You could lose your gym. You could get sued. You could have your books forced to be like unpublished. There are a lot of things that can happen. Your livelihood, your dream can just be crushed like that. So you need to be 100% accurate, or as accurate as the research is at the time. You can't just be like, oh, do this, do this, do this, and then have someone get hurt. But if you don't get paid, and you're just soliciting advice in the gym, what's the recourse for that? There's none. Oh, somebody told me to do this dangerous action. Well, there might be a legal case for that, but what are you going to get out of them? If it's not their gym, if it's not, a published, sort of theory or anything like that, those people have no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no recourse to that. So, for you, on the other hand, you could give me a bunch of bullshit advice, I could get hurt, and I wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Because if I did sue you, the judge would just say, oh, well, I mean, you just listen to some random person that you don't know who they are. And sorry, the dog kind of was being a little antsy there, so I took care of that. But basically, yeah, there's no recourse for you. Like, the judge would just say, oh, well, you listen to some random person. So, and again, that would be if it went to lawsuit. Would I really sue somebody on principle, for advice that they gave me that happened to be bad? Well, maybe, but probably not. It has happened to me before. In another story, I was at the CBU gym of my university where I went to a couple years ago. And it was the same goddamn thing. He told me to look up when I squat, and I did it. And oh, fuck, man. First of all, I kind of had bad form to begin with. But when I looked up, I felt the whole left side of my lat just go whoosh, and I was like, fuck, in the bottom of the lift, and I've just jimmied it right up. I pushed it up as hard as I could. Thank God it was only like 225 pounds, but still, it was enough to damage me. I was out of the gym for 4 fucking months, man. Or no, maybe it was 3 months, but it was a long time. November, December, January. I finally kind of healed up in February. And so guys, that's why you don't listen to just random people in the gym. You always listen to people who have credentials behind them. And just because somebody can deadlift 500 pounds in their 70s doesn't mean that they are worth listening to due to the fact that they've been doing it for a long time. Okay? Don't listen to people in the gym, even if they are right, because you don't know whether or not they are. Now, if, a personal trainer from the gym comes over and says, hey, well, I mean, what you're doing is going to hurt you. Well, okay. And you're a novice? Yeah, fair enough then. If somebody who's actually, and even the personal trainers don't even know what they're talking about half the time. If you're in a big box gym and, some random dude comes over and is like, hey, you should do this. Again, be very wary of that. You should do your research about body mechanics to a basic extent before you come into the gym. But man, you guys who are doing the form police thing, just because you think that because you've been in the gym for years and years and years means that you have experience, no, it doesn't mean that. And again, for a lot of you guys who are novices, who have a couple months experience on people who are more novice than you, for God's sake, don't be given advice like that. Because again, you don't always, 1 year, man, 6 months, that's not enough to give advice to people on form. Now, I mean, it happens. If you really don't know what you're doing, then sometimes, your friends can help you. But a lot of times, if you have the internet, if you're watching this video, that means that you have the internet or access to it. For God's sake, go on the internet. Do some research. Okay? Do some basic body mechanics research. You can find a lot of what you need on YouTube. Go watch a couple Mark Bell videos, a couple Omar Esau videos, a couple of, and I know that this guy has mixed opinions, but go watch some old Jason Blaha videos, man. Because, I mean, that guy is a little out there, but he knows what he's talking about, so. Yeah, that's basically all I had to say about the foreign police thing. You just don't want to do that, guys. So anyway, if you found the video informative, give me a like. Again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you've made it to the end of the video, that means that you found it remotely interesting, so give it a share on your favorite social media sites. It's just a freaking click. So that's basically it, guys. Until next time.